Hey guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another Retro RPG. Now this isn't one of my usual episodes where I put up whatever's gone in the poll. This is the one of the ones where I'm looking into something from the very dawn of role-playing. Because this week I'm going to look at Boot Hill from 1975, the first edition. Now, depending on the way you look at this is either the second or third role-playing game which came out from TSR. Because Dungeons & Dragons came out and then they published Empire of the Petal Throne. But that was the second edition they published of that, because the first edition had been published independently. So Boot Hill was a fresh game. So if you're looking at just fresh RPGs developed by TSR, then this is the second. However, it's the third game to be published. It's also barely an RPG. It bears a lot more resemblance to Chainmail than it does to Dungeons and Dragons. Although there are a lot of extraneous rules in here. Things which don't just make matters of a skirmish. And it is geared very much towards brawls and one-on-one combats. Small scale, where there's just a small group of people fighting, probably each player commanding each character, rather than them controlling a small squad or something like that. Going into it, we can see that the artwork is very basic. It's pen stuff, but this is 1975, so they weren't hiring professional artists, they were just doing stuff themselves. And that's probably a lot better than I could ever do. So, what is it? Harden does a road agent spin to get the drop on Wild Bill Hickok. Rules for Wild West gunfights and campaigns with miniature figures on a man-to-man scale. Copyright 1975, TSR. Forward, these rules are aimed at enjoyment on a plain, unusual to war game. The individual and personal, rather than commanding hordes of troops players typically have, but a single figure, their character. With these figures, the players recreate the individual gunfights, saloon brawls, and Wild West action, as has come down to us from the pages of history and the celluloid Hollywood westerns. So, you're playing a single character, but it is combat-based. Although, as I said, there's strangely rules for other things in here. But it's definitely not a role-playing game. If you look up on things like Wikipedia, it lists it as the Boot Hill role-playing game. And it became that. Second edition's definitely a role-playing game, but this is not. In addition to single or campaign tape play, there are two scenarios included which recreate two of the most famous Western gun battles of history. The first is the gunfight at the OK Corral. Number two is the Battle of Coffeeville. This writer grew up with Saturday Cowboy Matinee. A number of times he bit the dust as a member of the Dalton Gang is beyond his recollection. Obviously, introduction by Gary Gygax there, 1st of May 1975. And because it's a historical game, there's no background in here. No information at all. Everything's just up for you to make up. Your scenarios will be coming straight from your imagination. It's not setting things up into a world. And it is very clear that things are going to be dangerous in this game. It's called Boot Hill for a reason. It's where dead people go after they've been killed. We've got the scale here, characteristics, where the percentages go. So slow, below average, average, above average, quick, very quick, fast, very fast, lightning, and greased lightning, with the percentages going up in 5% increments. Personal bravery, personal accuracy, strength, speed. And the bonuses you get. We've got the turn sequence, so sequential movement. We've got movement speeds, crawling. You go 2 inches, walking go 6 inches, running and dodging 12 inches, running 24 inches. Walking, trotting, galloping if you are mounted. Different types of weapons, the different ranges of those, how long it takes to reload them, how much ammunition they carry. Going from thrown knives up to buffalo rifles. Explanation of things there, what targets, how the combat works. To hit charts, so your standard chances of hitting with bonuses for your dice. Fast hit locations, whether you get a light wound, serious wound, or mortal wound, where they are hit dead straight off. Exact hits, you can say where it is: left leg, right, left arm, hand, right shoulder, left shoulder, abdomen, groin, chest, and head. Modifiers for to hit based on different things. So scatter guns are easier to hit things up close range. You've got cover rules there, wound results. You've got the brawling rules, punching, because this is totally cowboy stuff, so you don't have to be having a gunfight outside in the street. You don't have to be having a major battle. You can just be having a barroom brawl, beating each other up, just having a lot of fun. Haymakers, jabs, hooks, kicks. And then we've got some advanced rules. So simultaneously movement and sequence, advanced movement, firing during movement, arched arrows, so you can shoot over targets because they arch over the obstructions, minor character morale, cavalry troopers. We've got miscellaneous troopers, bank tellers, bartenders, the very minor characters who get in the way. And we've got some stats there for them. So how fast they are, their accuracy, their throwing accuracy, bravery, strength, and their experience. Setting up a town, building interiors, so explaining all of that. More optional rules, alternate first shot determination, so you can do a fast straw type scenario, greased lightning rule. Sharpshooting, stunning, intoxication, so people in your barroom brawl can be drunk and have disadvantages for that. We've got rules for professional gamblers, how they can cheat in cards, and they stand a chance of being detected depending how often they cheat, which doesn't seem useful in a battle, a barroom brawl, or anything. It seems more like role-playing leading up to that. As I said, this is like a skirmish game, but with some extra rules built in. Rules for dynamite. So, of course, throwing a stick of dynamite and blowing up your enemy is perfectly valid in any cowboy battle. Got misfires, stray bullets, Gatling guns, cannons. Drawing of Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid with, I can't make that out, Etta Blade or something? I don't know my Wild West history. Is that somebody? Campaign game suggestion. So talking about it, and we've got movement rates here with horses, whether it's what quality of horse you've got. Posses, tracking, so tracking down a band of outlaws or Indians. Again, doesn't seem part of a skirmish fight, seems like things leading up to one. But there's all these rules in here, so it's taking the idea of a skirmish game and stretching it, while still not enabling enough of a character there to be a full role-playing game. I can see why they ended up becoming a role-playing game in the next edition, but obviously there's going to be a lot more added to it. And I will cover the second edition at some point. We'll get to that. We've got aging rules, which I found quite amusing. So, speed. Each game year, add 1% to your speed up to the age of 25. After age 35, subtract 1% per year. Accuracy, 1% every other game year up to 25, subtract 1 every other game year after age 40. Bravery no effect. Strength, add 2% each year up to age 25. Subtract 2% each year after age 35. So you can get pretty darn weak as you age. And we've got Jesse and Frank James there. And we're on to the appendices, which are the battles. So we've got the gunfight at the OK Corral, which sets up the description. Assume all the cowboys are armed with revolvers at the start. Add Johnny Ringo and or Billy Claiborne to the side of the cowboys, leaving 2 men unarmed as in the original scenario. And we've got the different character ratings. So we've got Wyatt Earp, Vigil Earp, Morgan Earp, Doc Holliday, Billy Clanton, Ike Clanton, Tom McClary, Frank McClary, John Ringo, and Billy Claiborne. We've got a rough map here of the layout of the OK Corral. And then we've got the Battle of Coffeeville. Again, with various characters, a map setting it up. And then we've got prices. Why you need this in a skirmish game where you're just setting things up. This again sounds more like a role playing thing, where your characters will get some money for what they've done in a previous adventure, going on a bounty hunt and getting a couple of $100 for killing the rascally varmint who rustled those horses or whatever. And they'll get some money and they'll be able to buy something, even if that is just 20 cents for a pound of bacon. You can hire cowboy hands, corral space for your horses. This does seem very on the edge of role playing. We've got Bell Star, perhaps that's who it was on the other page. A typical section of a town, so laying out what a town in the Wild West would be like. Building floor plans, and then we've got suggested reading. US West, the saga of Wells Fargo, the saga of Billy the Kid, where the Old West stayed young. And a page of notes, and then we've got product lists by TSR, so Cavaliers and Roundheads, Dungeons and Dragons, Greyhawk, Tricolor, War of the Wizards, Chainmail, Tactics, Rules for World War II, Panzer Warfare, Boot Hill itself, Classic Warfare, and Percentile Dice Kits. Brawling chart, I believe we saw that earlier. Weapons chart, yep, we definitely saw that earlier. First shot chart, so easy to locate things in the appendices at the back of the book. To hits, and the back cover. So I can see why this became a role-playing game. And it's following much the same path as Dungeons & Dragons did. Whereas Dungeons & Dragons started off as chainmail, and people built on that to make Dungeons & Dragons. Boot Hill started off as this, and then got built on to become a role-playing game in its second edition. There's a lot to like in here. I expected somehow more, but once I got over that initial surprise that this wasn't going to be a full role-playing game, I'm pleasantly surprised by what's in here. There's a bunch of rules in here which make you think about different scenarios. Setting things up with the gambler getting caught and then leading to a barroom brawl. And some of the characters being drunk, because you've got rules for that. You've got tracking rules, so you can have people tracking down a gang. And you can award out things like money for tracking those people down, and then people buying better equipment for later adventures. It all makes sense, but it's just missing a few parts to take it from just a skirmish game to a role-playing game. But anyway, I think I've been wittering on for quite long enough. So thank you very much for watching, as always. But most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.